I'm Margaret Jones, and I am the 880 Vitality Fellow for the City of St. Paul. Before this role, I was the Executive Director for the Lexham Community Council, which is a neighborhood council. It's actually a neighborhood that I live in. In that role, I started learning more about the kinds of community things that really that get in the way of having a livable community or quality of life. And one of those things was the pedestrian, driving, biking, how we get around. My husband and I moved here from San Francisco in 1990. What am I talking about? And we were so amazed at how difficult it is to cross the street here. Moving from San Francisco, where if you even think about crossing the street, people stop. And I mean, that's an exaggeration, but I'm not kidding. It's like we never ever felt unsafe crossing the streets in San Francisco. And here, you just could wait forever to get someone to let you across the street. And that's whether you have a stroller, whether you have a little kid on a bike or whatever. And it was just, I was sort of, I've always been really surprised. So after we moved here a few years, they put into state law that you have to stop for pedestrians, but I don't think people really know that that's the case. Part of me feels like, do you really need a law to tell someone to stop and let someone cross the street if they're on foot? But that's another story. Anyway, so I remember just thinking about it a lot when we first moved here and just walking in our neighborhood. That's a very walkable neighborhood. And so then when I got into the community council work, I realized that this was like a whole citywide thing. There's just the conversation about walkability and bikeability and safer streets is huge. Everybody's talking about it. It's really important. Our urban centers are becoming much more populated again, and they expect that to just continue to grow as people are wanting to be in an urban center. So it's not just about walking, it's about transit, it's about biking, and it's about safer streets for cars too. But the past it was all about cars, and it was all about the number of vehicles on the road, how quickly we can move them through. And so it's a huge shift to change that dialogue and that narrative. And one of the challenges that we have here in St. Paul is that we have city roads, county roads, and state roads. And many of the arterial, the big four-way or the four-lane roads are state highways. And so there's there's just a lot involved in trying to get these changes made. And then another thing that I have really been looking at a lot is there's a lot of confusion around road rules, like what's a crosswalk, what isn't a crosswalk. And so anything that we can do to increase education around and awareness around what the laws are, what the etiquette is, and I just think that it like if you make safer streets for drivers, cars, and bikes, everybody's safer, and it's a much more pleasant experience for people. We need to have ramps that you can actually get up and down if you are in a wheelchair. One of the Friendly Street activities at one of their events was they had wheelchairs there so that people could actually get in a wheelchair and try to get up and over this bridge. And it was incredible. And I'm pretty strong, and I was having trouble getting up that ramp. I mean, so it's like just having that sort of just continuing to be aware of how people get around and how we need to just make it easier for everybody and safer. And then enforcement. So we have this huge Stop For Me campaign. And so when we started reporting that in St. Paul, on average, someone gets hit, there's a crash like every other day, people were just like, oh my God, that's crazy. And it is crazy. And we can do way better than that. So I think that anytime you can have a relationship with someone that, like get to know people, find out what's important to them. It seems to me that most of the 880, the idea of 880 and that whole idea of having an intersection, for example, an intersection that's safe for an 8-year-old to cross or an 80-year-old to cross, and asking ourselves, like, is this intersection in fact safe? Would I let my 8-year-old daughter go or son go across the street? Would I let my 80-year-old grandparent, parent. And if the answer is no, then we all need to come together and fix it, because that's not okay. And trust me, we have a lot of intersections in the city that are just, that I would no more let my 8-year-old go across by themselves, or my, an elderly parent or grandparent with a walker, or because it's just, they're too dangerous. So we all have work to do. And so I think that when we start learning about why people want to feel safe in the streets, then it's like, we can't argue, and this is, you're gonna have to seriously edit this because I'm just totally mumbling and going on about it. But here's the thing. So it's like, if you're in a car, you probably have air conditioning, you probably have a heater, you're probably not getting rained on unless you've got your hood, convertible top open on a rainy day. And so you are comfortable. So if you have to wait through an additional red light while we get pedestrians, bikers, seniors, whomever wants to cross the street, if you have to wait a little bit longer, then I just say that's fine, and too bad that if you are getting so impatient that you can't make that right on red because it's no longer safe to do so on that corner. So we have to just slow down. We have to be more thoughtful and recognize that there are just way too many people on our streets, which is a good thing. But we can't be impatient. We just have to learn to slow down.